Hey, this is the Pit and Paddock Racing Show with Dan and Rand. We've had a pretty eventful NASCAR weekend here with tires and trucks and all sorts of business. Saturday night, Chris Janekis got his first win this season in the trucks. Pretty good racing all around. Not a lot of tire problems. That came the next day. Denny Hamlin managed to keep his tires together through the long run and ended up winning.
Hey, he hung around the front quite a bit.
He was there all day.
I noticed in the beginning because he hung around in the front. Well, he was in the front in Phoenix until he screwed up and went too far on the apron and
Yes.
lost all his
Spun
spots.
himself out.
Yeah, went to the back.
Ty Gibbs dominated fairly early, but his pit crew let a tire roll out of the box, so he had to start from the rear late. What was? Oh, I read that the top three, Truex, Hamlin, and Keselowski, are the three oldest drivers in the series.
I saw his picture on the trailer where they sell all the T-shirts and hats and stuff at the track. Yeah, he looks like it's a bunch of kids with their grandfather, and I'm sure they touched him up too. But still, he looks like he's like 2 generations older than all the other kids.
It seems like the veterans were able to hang on to their tires longer. Plus, the Gibbs cars were just dominant again. Even if there weren't some sort of tire shenanigans, I think they probably would have been in the front all day.
Bristol's considered a short track at half a mile, right? So
Yes.
is Toyota the king of the short tracks?
They seem like they're the king of any track a mile or under so far.
And the tires were a big problem if you were not a veteran who knows how to manage their tires.
It seems like after the first stage, everyone kind of figured out what was going on. But you could still see like a lot of the rookies will shoot up in the first 10 laps, pass a bunch of people, and then they drop right back by, 20, 25 laps later.
As their tires wear out.
Yeah.
I didn't see... You know what? It looked like there was a lot of empty seats. I don't know. It's so hard to tell because they make all the seats different colors so that when you're panning by, it looks like the seats are full. But I kept watching. It looked to me like there was a lot of empty seats at Bristol.
Now, Bristol, I'm not sure what it holds now, 130 or 40,000. So it's...
Oh, that's a lot of tickets to
Yeah,
sell.
they haven't quite filled up the spring race lately. But I don't know, maybe after this one, more people would want to show up.
Maybe in the late 90s or early 2000s they could sell out. Can
Back
you
in
imagine trying to get to the parking lot with 100,000 people?
Oh, man. Back in the day, they sold it out. There was a waiting list for Bristol.
At 100,000 people.
Yeah.
Amazing. That was back when NASCAR was the biggest thing. Still the biggest thing in America.
Yeah.
This was the Food City 500, but not 500 miles, 500 laps.
500 laps.
At least it wasn't 500 kilometers that they were... Why does everybody want to have 500?
Because that's the number. I don't know. Talk to Indy. I think they started it.
Starts with the Indy 500.
It's not going to be as long, but it'll have 500 in the name. So pretty much, I went back and looked at the last stint, 120 laps, caution free. And it was pretty interesting how the tires would go a max about 50 to 60 laps before people just dropped off like 2 seconds, and 2 seconds on a half-mile track is pretty amazing to see.
You get past pretty quick.
Yeah, and like people are like creeping while Hamlin's going fast, and then they made it through a round of green flag pit stops without any wrecks or anything happening. I don't know, it was pretty exciting end to the race. I think I'm a fan of the tires wearing out quickly.
Yeah, didn't they do that in Formula One for a while? Like make the tires wear out fast just to make so one guy couldn't run away with it. Like all the tires in the last Formula were just degraded easily.
Now that and now they have the optional tires, which don't really seem that much different, but still, it hasn't really worked out for F1 like they wanted to.
Yeah, we haven't seen the the lead changes like we'd hoped for. So who is your paint scheme of the week?
Well, AJ Allmendinger with the Cheetos and Mountain Dew paint scheme, one of the best food groups.
Yeah, when I'm 150 and they ask me how did you live to 150, I'm gonna say bacon and Mountain Dew. I was looking for the strangest sponsor, and I was gonna go with FICO because I'm like, what's FICO? And then I said, oh no, it's the credit score, and I'm like, yeah, I'm sure NASCAR supporters understand credit scoring, so that doesn't make it that weird. And then I looked at Ballpark Buns. Why didn't they call it Ballpark Franks?
I don't know. Do they need to advertise their buns?
Yeah. Why are they? They could have said Ballpark Wieners. Or did they think we didn't notice that they took the Franks part off and just advertised the buns? So in the end, I went with Circle. Because I had no idea who Circle was. I had to look it up. It's like a $300 mood ring.
What?
Yeah. I don't know. They called it like, healthy life or something like that.
That sounds like some sort of Ponzi scheme.
Yeah, wellness. I think they had the word wellness in there.
Oh, wellness. Okay. I think, much better than the Ballpark Buns is Brad Kay's King's Hawaiian scheme. I'm a big fan of that one.
I didn't notice that one. What did it look like?
It's orange.
Well,
it was noticeable.
I like the Sunny D car. It just makes me happy when it drives by. I don't know what it is about it, but I like the Sunny D.
I do enjoy that one much more than the OJ and Purple Stuff cars.
Oh.
I want to know what buildsubmarines.com is. I think Chris Buescher was driving that one. What, do I go there and order parts to build my own submarine? Is that how that works?
It's, yeah, as long as you don't try to go down to the Titanic.
Oh no. Oh, I hope he didn't use that website.
Make it round. What is, I saw that at Phoenix, buildsubmarines.com. What are they, like, you can't get the general public to go buy submarines.
That seems out of a lot of price ranges. I don't understand it.
They trying to get you to join the Navy?
Now I'm going to look it up at some point, though.
Yeah. So we're, I got to point out, my man Gilligan dropped back down to P26 after causing a crash at lap 368. And I blame his evil financial sponsor that he had this week. If he'd had Peanuts as his sponsor, he would have done better.
What was he on this week? I forgot.
It was some banking? Sitcard?
Sitcard.
City card.
That's right.
Sitcard. I don't know. Evil money people.
Yeah, it was lame.
Yeah.
All right, coming up next week, I think all three series are heading to Austin, Texas, and the Circuit of the Americas.
So trucks, cars, and cars?
Trucks, cars, and cars. We'll have...
There's no track limits?
No track limits for NASCAR. I think they have some in the S's, but the rest of the track, you're going to see them all over the place.
So you can run out in the dirt and come back in, and
I don't know about the dirt. I wouldn't doubt if they tried it.
Mm-hmm. So the curbs, you can go over the curbs.
Yes, they can do that pretty easily.
I like a road course for NASCAR. I still want to see a street course. That would be fun. Yeah, I want the concrete walls. Really close. Yeah, so you can hit them like Lance Stroll.
So at COTA, what I remember from every race there is the extremely long caution periods around that 3+ mile track. Just way too long. That gets old.
Well, the thing about most road courses is they kind of stretch out in the middle a little bit.
Yeah.
Well, isn't that why they introduced the different stages in NASCAR? Because it would just kind of stretch out and get bored.
Last year they ran the first 3 road courses without stages. And then I think at Watkins Glen it went straight through, and the race ended an hour earlier than normal. Then they put the stages back in. Oh. Or they got rid of the stage cautions and kept the stages. I thought
they just kept rolling.
It made it for a more natural race.
That sounds better.
Joining the Cup Series next week is Kamui Kobayashi, former F1 star and 24 Hours of Le Mans champ.
Oh, that's right. I remember Kobayashi.
He's joining the 23XI Toyotas. So that'll be a second start after Indy last year.
I'm sure he's a Toyota. Who is the other one in IndyCar? Tora Takagi. Remember Tora Takagi?
Oh, that was a little bit earlier.
Yeah, I remember Tora Takagi. My Japanese friend Uzumo said, "That's a cool name." I'm like, "What does it mean?" He's like, "It literally means tiger of the tall trees." And I'm like,
That is a cool name.
that is. If I ever move to Japan, I'm going to name myself Tora Takagi. That's awesome. I think he's still alive, right?
I hope so.
Okay. On to F1. All right, what do we have in F1?
Moving on to F1, coming out of another off weekend, but heading into Australia this weekend. More Horner drama, like always.
Yes, the female employee that accused him was sacked after the investigation that found Horner not guilty. The investigation by Red Bull that found Horner not guilty. So they sacked the female employee, but she's filed an appeal with, I believe it's the FIA.
Man.
And so we haven't heard the end of that.
So now you're watching Drive to Survive on Netflix right now, and every time you see Christian Horner talking to some Red Bull employee, you're just wondering if that's the person or not. Or like, is he getting a little close? Is he whispering sweet nothings into her ear in the background, maybe?
Is he touching her in the wrong place?
Little handsy, maybe sniffing her hair from behind. I don't know. Whatever he wants to do.
He's not the president of Red Bull. You have to be the president to do the hair sniffing.
That's right.
I'm still surprised that he's married to a Spice Girl. How did I not know that he was married to a Spice Girl? I mean, if I got married to a Spice Girl, though, I don't think I would pick Ginger Spice.
No. Maybe Sporty Spice?
Sporty Spice? Yeah, she'd give you the 3-day race pass.
I think Scary Spice sounds like most of the people I've dated.
You know what? If there was a jalapeno spice, that's the one I would pick.
Jalapeno Spice.
What was the other? Isn't one of the other Spice Girls married to someone famous?
There's Posh and Beckham.
Oh, that's right. She married the soccer dude.
They seem to be doing all right. Well, some of them.
There was another Spice. I can't remember all the Spice Girls. It's been
Allspice?
too long ago. And Allspice. That would be a good, like, a male review in Vegas. The Allspice Girls. But it's a bunch of guys dressed up as girls.
Oh. That sounds like fun.
Gunther Steiner stated that he stayed at Haas too long.
Oh. I believe Gene Haas thought the same thing.
Yeah. Yeah, don't we all say that when we get fired? Yeah, I stayed too long. Yeah.
Why were you fired? Well, it turns out you stayed a day too long. You should have took off right before that.
You know what? Maybe Gene Haas got some advance footage of the Netflix Drive to Survive, because there's a whole episode where Steiner keeps talking about how he's done with this and doesn't want to do it, and he goes out to the former Ferrari boss's wine place, and they both drink wine and complain about how hard Formula One is, and they both want to quit. So, yeah, nobody's shocked now.
No. And the lack of improvement the past few years for Haas didn't help at all.
Yeah, they started out good last year and then just kind of faded when they couldn't develop the car.
Toto Wolff said that he doesn't want to fall into the trap that Christian Horner has in the past of urging rule changes because one team is dominating Formula One.
Says the Wolf. Wasn't he the one complaining 2 years ago about the porpoising and, we need to change the rules because the porpoising is too dangerous?
Yes.
Because he had the worst porpoising.
That's right.
So he wanted to change the rules.
Yes.
And Horner said, just fix your effing car.
But then, before that, when Mercedes was dominant, it was Horner complaining about rules. I don't know. That's pretty standard Formula One.
I still think they just need to go to a 3-year formula. Just don't let one team... Because it happens every time. One team ends up dominating for years.
You only get the 1 year of dominating.
Yeah. 3-year formula. That's the solution. So they're in Australia.
Australia.
Yeah, I don't think we're going to see much difference from the last two races. Australia is a medium downforce track, just like Jeddah and Bahrain, so it's probably going to be another Red Bull one too.
That is probably exactly what's going to happen. Unless, I don't know, there's some sort of early or late shenanigans with the safety car. It tends to happen in Australia. But something like that would have to happen to change that outcome.
Something late because was it 2 years ago that Verstappen spun out in the middle of a race and still came back and passed everybody from like 14 spots down?
Yes.
In the Red Bull?
Yeah. So he would have to be late.
Yeah, so if we're going to cause a safety car, it needs to happen late.
Maybe send your backup teammate out just to take him out. A little rubbing.
Oh, yeah. You know what? Ferrari should have one of the Haas cars sacrifice themselves. Do a sack fly and cause a late crash. Kind of like Renault did with when they had Flavor Flav as their principal.
Just don't say it over the radio.
Yeah, exactly. No, I think we're not going to see anybody beat Red Bull until we get a high downforce track or we get some major upgrades. But you don't usually see upgrades for 5 or 6 races. So I'm thinking it's a little while before Red Bull gets really challenged. I hope I'm wrong.
I don't see much changing there. And even with upgrades, maybe they'll catch up a bit. I was thinking maybe we could bring the Goodyear tires from NASCAR to the F1 race. Maybe that would help.
That sounds like a good idea.
Yeah.
You thought, did Goodyear ever supply? Well, I'm sure they supplied tires for F1 at some point in the future.
I think they did back in the 90s.
Who was it that caused the fiasco at the Indianapolis race? Was that Bridgestone?
Michelin?
Was it the Michelin tires?
Bridgestone.
I think it was the Michelin tires because you
Yes.
had 2 different tire suppliers.
Because only 6 cars started. The 6 cars on Firestone started the race. And
Oh,
the
yeah.
rest of them, because of that evil bank turn that they had to make.
Yeah, and all they should have, instead of getting rid of the bank turn for the race, or it was a chicane. Instead of adding a chicane
Yes.
to slow the cars down, Formula One said, nope, that's your problem. And so only 6 cars raced.
It's another problem with the lack of flexibility, where all the teams could have just went like, hey, let's put this chicane in and we'll have a decent race. No.
And that was the one where fans threw bottles and stuff on the track after the first lap.
Was it the Jordan that got a podium because he was up there, he was so excited?
Oh, yeah.
When
He'd never finished better than like 20th, and he gets 3rd place. Yeah, because Ferrari went 1-2, and the crowd booed Ferrari, but the Jordan guy was so happy the crowd cheered him. That was great. So, on to IndyCar. We have the thermal... What is that race called now?
the Thermal $1 Million Challenge.
Is that what it is? The race without any points?
The Thermal $1 Million Challenge, where the winner actually only gets $500,000, not $1 million.
Yeah, I've heard some of the more veteran drivers say they don't want to really risk an engine or a car for $500,000, and I'm like, yeah, because you have $100 million. But if you're some new guy, that $500,000 could mean a lot.
What are you doing every other week? I can't imagine you would got $500,000 for finishing, I don't know, 8th at St. Pete.
This is a weird race. So they're going to have 2 sprint races instead of qualifying. Or are they going to...
They'll do the qualifying.
And then 2 sprint races.
And then the 2 sprint races, which half the field each.
And then the top 6 from each of those 2 go on to drive in the main race.
Yes. I think because the track is too narrow, or not... I don't know why exactly. That was my guess. The track's too small for that many cars. Or not enough pit boxes.
So it's a 20-lap race, and they're going to stop at halfway, and everybody's going to come in like a NASCAR race.
Oh, they're going to... little stage break?
Yeah, they're going to have a stage break. They called it halftime because, you can't copy NASCAR.
Yeah, IndyCar told me that was evil.
Yeah. So they'll have a halftime after 10 laps. Everybody refuels, and then they go back out. And I'm like, 10 laps? Their fuel window is 10 laps? How big is this track?
What is... I don't know. I should have looked into that.
That seems like must be a big lap if they can only go 10 laps.
3+ miles? Something's...
Is it like Old Spa?
7. Nürburgring.
If they have all these houses around, I mean, are they going to put up concrete walls in front of the driveways? I mean, how are they going to do this?
I don't know.
Are we going to see some car go flying through somebody's living room?
I'd pay money to see that.
Yeah, that would be worth it. So the whole deal with this non-points paying race was to fill the long gap between St. Petersburg and Long Beach. And I'm saying, why don't you just have an actual race?
But come on, a race, a points race? That would be ridiculous.
You know, the Southwest is nice this time of year, so maybe like a street race in Phoenix. There's lots of Canadians still in Phoenix in March and April.
Baseball going on, a lot of people.
Yeah, Penske said he wanted more street races. So if Roger's listening, get rid of this thermal thing and do a Phoenix street race.
I'll go. A couple more notes for IndyCar. Well, and NASCAR, actually. There was talk of Lee Diffie replacing Rick Allen in the NASCAR booth after the Olympics are over this summer. Which, it could mean a lot of things or nothing. Is IndyCar going to be leaving NBC? Or is Rick Allen leaving NBC? What's going on here?
Maybe the new Disney, Fox, TNT, Big Ten streaming extravaganza is going to pick up IndyCar?
It sounds like they're going to pick up every sport ever.
Yeah. I mean, you'll know NBC's got the Indy 500. They're never going to give that up. That's the one that makes money.
Yes. I don't see IndyCar dividing their TV again, though. I think it would all be on one channel.
I kind of miss the old Speed guys. Remember when Speed did Formula One, Speed Channel, and it was Dave Varsha.
Who was that?
Steve Matchett was Dave Varsha was the professional commentator. Steve Matchett was the former pit boss, technical guy, and then you had Drunk English guy, the former driver.
Is that David Hobbs?
Hobbs. Yeah, that's because he's got like a car dealership in Wisconsin or something.
Yeah, I think he was F1 a long time ago.
That was a great team. I miss them. I'd pay money to hear those guys again.
Those were the best days of Formula One announcing.
Yeah, before ESPN took it.
With their Sky Sports.
Oh yeah, they don't even have commentators.
They just borrow the other ones.
Yeah, they just pay for the Sky Sports commentators. Yeah, I miss mostly Drunk. I mean, Dave Varsha was a good commentator, but Drunk English guy was the best. As the race went on, he just sounded drunker and drunker.
That's how you just have to watch Formula One now. Wonder how he would be doing.
Yeah. Is he still alive, Drunk English guy?
I don't know.
How about Dave Varsha?
Yes, I've seen him doing the, what are those auto auctions on the channel?
Meekum?
Meekum or the one in Scottsdale. Yeah, I've seen him doing that.
I couldn't remember. Wait, did he have cancer or something and beat it?
I think so.
Yeah, that's right. But then Robin Miller had cancer and didn't beat it. Okay.
So all of this TV nonsense is supposed to be settled up before the 500 in May. So that'll be good to get that over with.
I like Lee Diffie. I like him when he does Dakar.
Yeah.
He hasn't done Dakar for the past 2 years. He was actually really good at it.
Man, he's done everything.
Yeah, he sounds exciting all the time.
He is very excited. Also, Callum Ilott is back at Thermal.
Is he the one that's subbing? Or
Yeah.
No, he's the one. He's not the one that broke his hand.
No,
he's
he's
the one that's subbing for the one
Lucas.
Yeah. Okay. The one that broke his hand.
And that will be this weekend. We can finally watch another IndyCar race. That'll be fun.
Yeah, it feels like it's been since 2023.
It's been a while. So, while IndyCar was in an off week, it looks like most of their drivers headed down to Florida for the 12 hours of Sebring.
That's why they have the long gap between St. Pete and Long Beach, so that the IndyCar drivers can go down to Sebring.
I think it just worked out that way.
Yeah, I noticed that there were a lot of veteran IndyCar drivers. Like, there were so many, I was calling it the IndyCar retirement program. There was a lot of guys that haven't raced in forever.
A lot of the old, was Bourdais.
Bourdais was there. What Herta was it? Was it young Herta or retired Herta?
Young Herta.
Dixon's the one who said he didn't want to race hard for the thermal race this weekend because,
He doesn't need to?
Yeah. He's kind of like, is he the oldest guy in IndyCar now?
I think he is, because the other ones are just part-time coming for the 500. So
Yeah.
Will's the oldest full-time driver.
He's like the Fernando Alonso of IndyCar.
Yeah.
You're going to have, like, heard his grandson and Dixon one day. Now, in Sebring, there was one driver whose name I could not track down, except that they said he was 60 years old.
Oh.
Well, they said that when he went off, he went wide in a corner and his car went off and he lost a bunch of spots. Oh, yeah, he's 60 years old.
I think, well, you either have to be really rich or a really good driver to get into IMSA down there.
He probably has a house at Thermal.
No, yeah.
I don't know. The thing about IMSA racing is all the classes. Like I try to get my head around all the different classes. There's the LMP. So the LMP is the really good cars, right? Like the prototypes.
The top class.
Yeah.
Yes.
LMP, GTP, GTD, GTD Pro. All they were missing was the GTD Super Pro Lucky Max class by Apple.
That is it. I feel like they change the classes every other year too, so you can't remember what they are.
Well, do you remember when we went to Sonoma for the IndyCar race in
Yes.
Sonoma back right after the series came back together?
Yeah.
Because they had that was IMSA racing at the same time
Yes.
there too,
they
right?
had them at companion event.
I just remember we had to look inside one of the cars and he had like a map of the Sonoma track taped to the door. Like, when you didn't have time to look over at the map on the door, you're supposed to be going fast.
When you're in the sand, you can look over and go, oh, it was a right turn.
Yeah.
There we go.
I do like the international cast of manufacturers at IMSA. I mean, you had US, you had Cadillac, you had Japanese manufacturers, German, Italy. Was there French? Did Renault have a car or Alpine?
Was there an Alpine? Alpine's WEC, I think.
Oh, there were a couple different Japanese ones, right? Like
Yeah.
Lexus,
Lexus,
and
Acura. What else was there?
They were all there.
Corvettes, Ferraris, Lamborghini. Just a good
Oh, yeah.
amount of cars, too.
Yeah. No English. Are there any English car manufacturers left?
Was there an Aston Martin? Oh, they've been bought up. But we'll still pretend that they're English, I guess.
They're not considered Canadian now since Lance Stroll's dad bought. He bought Aston Martin, and then he bought Racing Point. What was it before it? Before it was Racing Point, the Formula One team was called. Was it Force India?
May have been. Was that one Force India or was Alpine Force? I don't. Oh my
I
God.
don't know. It's easier to just buy a team than to make your own, like Andretti wants to do.
Well, now they won't let you.
But yeah. Lance Stroll's dad bought the Formula One team that his son was already racing for, and then he bought Aston Martin, and made them the main sponsor of his Formula One team.
That's one way to go about it, I guess.
Yeah, I guess if you have billions of dollars, you can do that. But yeah, so I wouldn't say Aston Martin's English anymore. I think it's Canadian. At least it's owned by Canadians. If they're actually in England, then yeah, I guess we could call them English. But I don't think I saw any of their cars in IMSA.
McLaren. Was McLaren there?
Do they make They don't make engines though, or do they? Do they make engines for their street cars?
I don't know if they make them themselves or they.
They don't make them for Formula One. They use
But they do make
Mercedes.
cars.
Yeah, I mean they've used Mercedes forever. Yeah, they make the actual car. You know what? You have to make the engine as well as the chassis to be considered a real car maker.
Okay. That's the rules.
I want to see an electric car class at IMSA, but then they have to stop the whole race halfway at like 4 hours so that all the electric cars can change their batteries out.
That wouldn't go well with the endurance racing. Unless they put a generator on board.
So Andretti was teamed with Acura, right? They won the race.
Yes.
Cadillac was second in the LMP class.
Yes.
But
yes, that's right.
Andretti's going to team with Cadillac for Formula One. Is that right? Okay.
Who else? Ganassi is teamed with Cadillac this year, but is also teamed with Honda in IndyCar. Penske has like a different manufacturer in every series they run, it seems like. So I guess as long as you're in a separate series doing it, it doesn't really bother anybody.
They don't care. As long as we all make money.
Yeah, as long as everyone's winning and making money.
Yeah, that's true. I think that's it for the week. We've got 3 races this weekend, so next week's show we should have a lot of good info.
It's going to be busy.
Yeah.
A lot of road course racing.
Oh, that's right. No ovals this weekend.
No ovals.
At least in any of these 3 series. All right. See you next time.
See ya.